Hello and welcome back to Cars of Glasgow, and today you join me inside the 2022 Lexus UX 300e. So this means it's Lexus's smallest crossover. UX means urban crossover. The 300e part means it's the electric powertrain variant. There is also a 250h available in the UK that is a petrol battery electric motor. Videos also on this channel if you want to see that. So this particular car uses a 54 kilowatt battery, producing about 201 brake horsepower. 0 to 60 is in a claimed 7.5 seconds. I have noticed when you put your foot down that 0 to 30 is quite quick. I think the extra instant torque you get from an electric vehicle really helps. I seem to have chosen a busy time to come out today. This particular car is a single motor. It drives the front wheels. You can't get an all-wheel drive variant in the UK, even at the time of filming. I'm not 100% sure we're getting let out on the main road. We do have a claimed 196 miles of range on the lesser trim UXs, but this particular one's a Takumi, so it rides on slightly larger alloy wheels, which is a claimed 190 miles of range. Today in full charge I picked it up with 165 miles, so a little bit less than claimed, and it is 21 degrees here in Scotland today, which is one of the few kind of warm days, but it's not been glorious weather. I think we've had rain and wind already. Went out a walk at lunchtime and it felt pretty cold. So charging wise, we've got two chargers available, or two charging ports on the side of the car. Driver's side, right hand side of the car, we have the Type 2 AC charging, which is limited to about 6.6 kilowatt hours, so it means you can charge it at home just with a £50 plug overnight. It's about 8 hours to charge. On the other side, we do have rapid charging that can be charged at 50 kilowatt hours, and let's say within 15 minutes you get 80% charge, so that's not terrible. With regards to charging on the rapid side, it's the same one that the Nissan Leaf uses, so it's the CHAdeMO type instead of the kind of more common variant, so you might find it a little bit harder finding the plug. It's not the same style that Tesla use. With regards to trim levels in this car, as I before mentioned, this is a Takumi, so it sits at the top end at just over £52,000 as of today's filming, July 2022. However, there is a lesser spec premium model, it's about £45,000, and the base spec UX is just over 42. So the base spec is a smaller screen, cloth seats. You still get camera, a reversing camera and parking sensors. The middle spec adds things like the heated and cooled seats, heated seats in the rear. And this Takumi specs add in things like the sunroof, the heads-up display, the 360 camera, so you can kind of see where your money's going. And this does rival cars such as the Mercedes-Benz EQA and the Volvo XC40 Recharge that I think looks pretty nifty. I think this is the kind of person that would want this car, as somebody who wants a Lexus badge, compact dimensions if you live somewhere maybe in a more urban environment. You want that build quality that Lexus provides. And speaking of build quality, the interior of this car does feel well built. There's no squeaks or rattles, especially for a car over £50,000. You kind of expect that, but I have been in cars that do have little annoying creaks and rattles that cost more than this. So that is a nice touch. And I think going by Lexus reliability over the years, you'd like to think you've got a good car on yourself on your side. With regards to reliability as well, Lexus offer a relax system, so if you offer, they offer, if you get your car serviced with them over the 10-year period every year, they offer like a warranty up to 10 years, so that's decent, a bit of peace of mind. Especially covers things like the batteries that maybe is the biggest concern for people on a car like this. And also being a Lexus, it typically holds their resale value, because I've seen some on Auto Trader about 2 years old with some miles on them. They maybe only lost £4,000 or £5,000 in depreciation. I know that's part of maybe the market we live in today, but I think that's not too bad with regards to the depreciation curve. So on the inside of the car, everything is well laid out. It's the kind of car you can just jump in, and ergonomically you're going to know that's the climate control. There's a heated seat button. There's no faffing around on a touchscreen. The infotainment system in this car is a weak point, and it's not the latest and greatest system you get like the new Lexus NX, for example, or even that touchscreen system that was in the facelifted ES. We've still got this remote touch pad that I'm not a huge fan of. I've seen it in different variations and I've used it over the years in various cars. It's not the easiest to use, so I think the latest RZ that we've seen with the touchscreen was really good, really simple to use. I think a bit more responsive and modern looking. I think that kind of system in this car would help lift it. But everything else is nice and easy to get into and just operate, because it's basically just a standard UX, which in turn is just a normal Lexus with regards to controls. And not everybody wants an EV that stands out. This kind of EV flies under the radar because it just looks like the standard UX, and I think some people will like that and that will appeal to them. The instrument display up front is pretty clear. I said it's a rehash of the standard UX screen. We do have the fuel gauge that's been replaced with a little charging cable outside the petrol pump that looks quite unique looking. This looks like a bit of a reskin. We've got the Lexus UX, the top right, where I think that would be your engine temperature gauge up there. We do have regen braking in this car, so you can put it on the gear selector down to B, and the paddles actually increase or decrease kind of the velocity of the regen braking. So if you're around town, it like helps you put a little bit of energy back into the car's battery. And being an electric vehicle of this size and kind of style, it's designed for urban environment. I think stop go traffic is where this car would excel. We're just about to turn on, put the foot down a little bit. I like the noise it makes. You can turn that off. ASC is the button at the side there, but it kind of pumps through this futuristic whoosh sound. And it does have things like radar cruise control that you can set quite easily on the right hand side there. Lexus are really good at throwing in a lot of safety systems. I think Safety System Plus, and it gives you things like your radar cruise control, you've got lane departure warning, parking sensors, reversing camera, all pretty much as standard. As I mentioned, you go up higher up the trim, you get your 360-degree camera, and the heads-up display in this model as well, pretty clear, quite wide, and you can adjust that as well. But I quite like seeing it tells you your charge on there. You've got your speed and your lane as well, so all that, you don't take your eyes off the road. Rear space is kind of a small point in the car. I'm 5'11" up front. I've got the driving position seated for myself, and it's pretty comfortable. Two adults are going to fit in the front, no bother. In the back, if you've got two adults, it's going to be ideal for small adults or children, especially if that floor is lifted a little bit just because of the batteries. I'm just going to pass the petrol station, which is nice to not be going into BP for one time. It's probably an advantage again of owning an electric car. Boot space, weirdly, in the electric, when you get more boot space in this car, so you get 367 litres of claimed boot space in this versus 320 in the hybrid. So I thought that was an interesting point, because sometimes when they add batteries to cars, the boot space typically goes down, but in this we've got more boot space than the hybrid. It's a decent shape, it's got a bit of a lip. Not a huge fan of the parcel shelf, but plenty of room in there for groceries, maybe going to golf, going to IKEA, things like that. It's an everyday kind of usable car, and the overall dimensions of the car are pretty usable because it's basically a tall hatchback. I kind of class this as a CT replacement, so I think Volkswagen Golf maybe raised an inch or two more than something that's not as big as like an X1 BMW or something that's a bit more boxy and utilitarian like that. Turn again. One of the main positives of this is the electric powertrain is very smooth. There's no cutting in and out of petrol engines, no CVT gearbox, and I think that really enhances the car. It's very quiet, no radio, and I quite enjoy driving this today with no radio on, just because it's pretty quiet and enjoyable, just hearing the car not really making any noise. It's quite a nice experience. It wouldn't be a Cars of Glasgow video without glove box, softly damped, not lined with fuzzy stuff, but there is a little bit of shelf for your logbook, etc, wheel nuts, and a little bit of storage there for gloves, sunglasses, etc. So to conclude this video, if you're looking for a nice, well-built, hopefully reliable, compact SUV, I would definitely put the Lexus UX on your shortlist. Possibly check out the EQA and the Volvo XC40 as I mentioned. There is other options as well with the Kia Niro, a Hyundai Kona electric, as well as kind of a small electric vehicle that has a little bit more range and is a little bit cheaper, so just depending on what you're after, if you're after more like a family car or a more kind of premium silent vehicle. As always, stay safe. Thanks for watching. Ciao.